welcome back to another week of finding Pokemon cards somehow. So this time around, I went back to a couple of different card shops, bought some more cards, saw some interesting things along the way, and so I'm mostly having some of these cards used to fill in the gap of some of the sets I did not have since the last time I covered everything. So the first update would be I recently picked up 2 new cards. You'll probably notice the Super Energy removal right here. And this one is not a first edition or what might be considered shadowless. There's not really shadowless trainers. It has to do with like the copyright on the bottom, how it's written. This one says the 98 on the side and then 99. So that makes it part of the unlimited run. I guess you could call it third printing, if you will. That's how that lines up. First edition, shadowless, unlimited. I still like the card. The next couple of cards is from base set 2. This is the set with the reprints of the original base set. This is the Pokédex that I picked up and the Switch card. Like I said, for how I'm handling reprints, I'm not going to try to complete the set for reprint sets. I'm using them as a useful way of getting the cards if, say, it's too difficult to get a card or complete the set, the original set that it's reprinting from. So in this case, I saw Switch, I saw the Pokédex, didn't see them for the original base set, so I'm going to use them to fill in the gaps. Alright, this next card's kind of an interesting one. This one is Pokemon Reversal. So this card specifically isn't from the original set, it is from the World Championship 2004 deck. And so these cards for the championships are not tournament legal, and the way you could tell that they're not tournament legal is they'll have this grayish silver border. Not to be confused with Scarlet and Violet's silver border, which when they came out with the new edge design for Scarlet and Violet, I thought they were saying, hey, all these cards weren't going to be tournament legal. No, they just decided that's the edge border. It had nothing to do with the legality of tournaments. Coincidence, they're not the exact same look to it. Scarlet and Violet's technically like a lighter gray versus like this darker tournament. It's really similar, but in any case, I thought it was funny when they originally announced that. But yeah, the backing of the card doesn't look like a regular Pokemon card. It has written on it World Championship 2004. I used to have other versions as well, but for right now, I have this one. And so these kind of decks were available, and you'll see modern equivalents of these as well, where the entire deck listing is made available and you can buy these decks. What's nice about these ones is printed on the cards is the tournament participant signature on it, so it's a very nice touch. It's very cool to see. Alright, and the next one we have up is Solid Rage from EX Unseen Forces. Like I said, filling in the gaps. I recognized the expansion set in the corner, and I realized I didn't actually have a card from this set, so I decided to pick it up. And then I found a bunch of other ones that were also nearby, so I might as well pick those ones up too. Another one being this Mawel. I never know how to say this. Mawel? Anyway, as you'll notice in this era of EX cards, backdrop image, it's not shiny. It's a printed pattern on the cards. It looks nice, and I really like it. It almost looks like it has a metallic shine to it. But like I said, the card itself is not hollow. It's just the printed look of the colors. Next card up is this trainer card, Technical Machine TS2. I always thought this was an interesting card. I remember seeing this floating around in like playground games of people trying to use this card to cheat a lot. They're like, this is the card that's a get out of jail free card, or I actually don't understand the mechanic of the game, so I'm gonna make it up as I go kind of game and hope you don't read the cards. But in any case, I thought it was a funny little memory. I totally forgot about that until I saw this card and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this card. But yeah, I thought that was funny. Next up is from Black and White base set, which you can probably tell from the black and white checkerboard, is this very hollowy looking Patrat. This is the reverse hollow for this. It kind of got this vertical stripous holographicness to it. It's just a reverse hollow. I probably mentioned this before. Depending what era of the expansion sets you're looking at, the reverse hollows will look different. Yeah, this one's a pretty interesting one. It's like a nice clean like shimmer across. Then we got Primal Clash with this Corphish, also reverse hollow. This reverse hollow is gonna look different. There's gonna look like there's little teardrops for like the water element all over it repeating. Almost kind of like the Scarlet Violet etching of the element onto each one of the cards, but a little bit different. And then we got this fun little set. So, Double Crisis, very fun set to look at. I picked up specifically Team Aqua Secret Base. This is the one that I ended up finding in the card shop. But the entire set itself will have, depending on what card it is, Team Magma and Team Aqua stamps all over them. Which, like I said, very fun to look at. Hopefully I'll find some of the other cards, but yeah, for now, the only one in my hands is this one. And so the stamp itself is kind of printed on it. I have a hollow version of this card, and the stamp itself isn't exactly hollow, but everything around the card is. So it kind of gives that stamp feeling, because, you know, an ink stamp's not normally shiny. Up next is the single Bagon from Roaring Skies, not to confuse with another set of a similar enough name in it. Roaring Skies always looks so beautiful to look at. If you look at the common cards and their backdrop, kind of this 2/3 artworks that expands out. I always thought that was really cool. I kind of don't know why they didn't continue doing it, but I don't know. I thought it was interesting. And up next, just for fun, because I saw this energy card and I recognize it. This is from Generations. Generation was the set where it was celebrating Pokemon's 20th anniversary, and it was also around this era where the Pokemon Company was doing some of the more recent expansion sets to reprint some of the older cards. So if you didn't have the chance to get a cards, you could get a similar enough card to it, as you'll probably see in the upcoming cards. But for now, we'll take a quick little sidetrack to look at Armored Fossil Sheldon from Steam Siege. Another set that I didn't really have, but now I do have an example card for it. And now we can talk about what I was meaning about reprinting the sets. For example, this Voltorb, it's going to look familiar. It looks like it's straight from base set, except, you know, updated look to it. But yeah, things have moved around from the placement of the card. And a really good example of seeing that is from Celestial Store. So, for example, this Voltorb, coincidentally, another Voltorb, you'll see that it says abilities in the top corner. And here's a slightly better, closer look of it. If you were to look at the original cards that it's reprinting from, it would say Pokebody. So, like again, this is the newer one, this is the older one. Mostly the same, updating the look of it for the anniversary. You know, pretty fun. That was honestly the main thing I remember from the X and Y era of cards. They were reprinting the older cards so people could play with them. And last but not least, I bought a couple of different blister packs from Scarlet and Violet base, and I got a decent amount of cards from it. Mostly reverse holos, but some of the newer cards I ended up pulling was this basic energy card right here, which is pretty nice. I don't know if I want to collect the other basic energies. I think it looks nice. Which means, since I bought two different types of blisters, they're both from Scarlet Violet base, but they had two different promo cards for the blisters, that means I added to these two more. So yeah, that about sums up a lot of the new cards I've gotten, aside from a couple of the film cards that I found. I'll probably show them later. But yeah, Pokemon released these cards to commemorate the film and certain episodes. They're like double-sided, so I'll figure out what kind of card sleeve I want to use for those. But for now, I'll leave them to the side for now. I'll cover them later. But yeah, I believe that pretty much covers everything. I'll see you next time. Whenever.